This is London Calling in the overseas service of the British Broadcasting Corporation. This bulletin includes news of Allied moves since the German invasion of Norway and Sweden, last night's meeting in London of the Supreme War Council, German threats to Sweden, a late report from Norway, an account of Mr. Chamberlain's statement to Parliament, and comment on some of the issues involved in today's news by Mr. Vernon Bartlett. Here is the news.
I'm currently at the Port War Signal Station on Spurn Head. This was a military fortified base operated as the fire control post for a series of military forts. This made up of the Humber area defence scheme. These included forts at Kinsea, Bull Sand and Haile Sand, and of course Spurn Head. The Humber defence scheme was implemented in 1915 in response to the coastal attack by the German naval forces in the previous year. The PWSS, Port War Signal Station, was a centralised communication hub that would have fed commands and information to all the other forts. The PWSS was an essential lookout post that controlled all the shipping in and out of the Humber. Many incoming vessels did not give correct responses to flag or radio signals from the PWSS. Then orders would be passed on to the various guns on the different forts to open fire and sink. If the vessels responded correctly, it would be ordered to move to the examination anchorage. There the vessel would be boarded and checked at close gun range before allowing through the barriers into the estuary.
Here is the news. Shortly after midnight, the War Office announced in London that all leave from the British Expeditionary Force and the Royal Air Force in France is stopped until further notice. And last night in London, the Supreme War Council met and decided on the full scope of the Allied reply to Germany's latest aggression. Meanwhile, news is still awaited of the naval activity that has been going on near the Norwegian coast. Until the action is over and the Allied warships have reported, no details can be made public.
By 1943, the demand for troops was great. Many of Britain's factories were staffed by women who had stepped in to help support the war effort. The Women's Royal Naval Service greatly expanded its personnel and began taking over more duties. The RNS, or most popularly called the Wrens, joined the PWSS in 1943 and took over the signalling duties. The PWSS housed around 80 personnel permanently stationed at the self-contained fort. The Royal Navy, various army regiments, including the Royal Engineers and the Royal Flying Corps, all worked together to run the site. Conditions for personnel were similar during both World Wars and highlighted a large class divide across the chain of command. Army personnel slept in crowded billets with a single fireplace for 24 men. In contrast, the 4 officers lived in relative luxury, having private rooms furnished with fireplaces, tiled floors, and fine china. The heavily fortified base was equipped to sustain life during an attack, so there was ample supplies, facilities, and clean water. The PWSS was never actually attacked during World War I or II, so life at the fort was focused on a day-to-day operations. The fire command room was one of the most important rooms in the PWSS. It housed the Humber area executive officer and was the communications hub of the site. Placed underground with a connecting tunnel in case of attack, orders from the fire command room were sent internally to the PWSS and across the Humber area defense scheme to neighborhood forts, or via a complex telephone system. The telephone system was maintained by the on-site Royal Engineers. The underground tunnel created a safe way for personnel to access a machine gun emplacement on the beach if a base was ever attacked.
This is London Calling. You're listening to a news bulletin read in the overseas service of the BBC. Here in London, it was an exciting day, but the only outward signs of the excitement were a rush to buy newspapers and the little groups of people who collected in Downing Street and outside the Houses of Parliament before Mr. Chamberlain made his statement there about the situation.
The House immediately broke into loud and prolonged cheers, in which the opposition joined. As usual, Prime Minister spoke in a clear, business-like voice. There was intense silence all over the House as he spoke, broken only by an occasional burst of cheer.